little head floating in a big sea of blackness. How's everybody doing? Nothing like a little head floating in a sea of blackness. Okay, I'm off to a rough start, but it's Tuesday, right? And that's the hump before hump day or something like that. Hope you guys are doing good. I've got some stuff to tell you, stuff to share with you. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to jump right into the art stuff. As a bunch of people have been asking me about my art, and I will fill you in on the art stuff right now. As I said the other day, I've been doing this abstract art for as long as I can remember. It hasn't always been ink and acrylic on canvas, but it's always been abstract art. Colored pencils, magic markers, or whatever else would write on a wall or anything else. And I guess I started out kind of as a felt tip graffiti artist in the clubs. I used to leave little messages on the dressing room walls, highlighting different nefarious activities, depicting characters along the way. Anyway, I stuck with it. Oh, I just saw a notice. Somebody just jumped in. Cool. Okay, Tommy. Very good. Anyway, I'm gonna switch over to the art gallery. So let us transpose to the art crowd. Right. This is an art exhibition that I did called The Color of Rhythm. And that's because I like to think that my stuff is like rhythmic and colorful. And this way, I thought I'd show you the scale of the pieces. That one in the back is 40 by 60, and that's about the size of a piece of fabric that it takes to make a shirt. So when somebody told me that my art would look good on shirts, I wasn't thinking about a t-shirt. I thought about taking that picture right there, which is Gypsy, and using the whole thing to cut a shirt out. And I did. And, TV, there's Black Ice. And there's the Torque album cover. Yes. Well, anyway, this is so this is my art and what it looks like. You know, they're gallery wrapped canvases, and where the image goes all the way around the side, and so on and so forth. Then again, it's ink and acrylic on canvas. And these are my originals, and so on and so forth. So now, segue to the next set of slides. And this has to do with what I was talking about yesterday about me sending you a signed limited edition metallic print. Because I'm not, the donation thing is a little weird for me, and I'd rather you get something. So you give me something, I'll give you something. So the slides that I'm going to show you next are the slides of the shirts, and I'll explain it to you. Okay, so what you're seeing now, that's the art made into a shirt, and the art is displayed in the background. That's Garden District, and you'll see they all have names, they're all numbered, and so on and so forth. That's Black Flower. And we had these cool COVID-19 masks made out of the matching material that we're donating to a charity, local charity here. That's Big Bang. So anyway, this is all the art used on shirts, right? That's Canal, as in Canal mate, and so on and so forth. So then you'll see that the shirts are wrapped around shirt cardboard that is actually a picture of the art that was used in the shirt. Okay, I'm not going to stay too long on this, so stick with me. So if you make the donation that's up on the screen, you will either get just the art, not the letters. This is actually the shirt cardboard that comes in your shirt, but you'll get a metallic print, which, here. This is a metallic print. It looks like it was printed on metal. I had these done for a store that sells my stuff. It is really, you feel like you could fall into it. So anyway, that's a metallic print. And by the way, if you made a donation in the past and received nothing, I will send you a makeup gift. Why am I orange now? Uh-oh. Don't say it. Too much what? What happened? Okay, so anyway, so that's it. You see the art. That's the art from Black Flower, blah, 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 blah. These are the 10 styles that I'm offering you. And if you make the $100 donation, then you get 13 by 19, which is like big. So, and when you see this metallic paper, it's awesome. It's cool. I don't think you've ever seen anything quite like it. So here we are. So I guess I've got a tan for this show, and there we go. Oh yeah. Well, my wife says that that's okay. I look healthy. I am healthy. I am healthy, guys. Let me tell you. And there I am, being healthy over here. All right. So let me. I got a question from somebody about how I got my nickname, Magic Steve. And that would be M-A-J-I-C. So I said I would tell the story, and I'm going to get all this, these, why are you there and who are you now out of the way. So anyway, Magic Steve came from early days as a musician, 11, 12. Dave and I would go downtown to Hunt's Music, which was on the corner of Mamaroneck and Main Street. And it was before there was any other music stores, any Sam Ash or Guitar Center or any of that stuff. And we'd go to Hunt's Music and we'd look through the records, and they had, I think it was, they had a green precision bass in the window, and Dave used to go in and ask the guy if he could play it. Once in a while he'd let him play it. No drums or anything like that. And I think they had a total of 3 guitars, but they had a real cool vinyl record section. And so I'm looking through the records, and and I come upon this blues guy named Magic Sam. I thought, ooh, Magic Sam, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should be Magic Steve. So I started calling myself Magic Steve after Magic Sam, but I didn't want to rip him off directly, so I spelled it with a J instead of a G, M-A-J-I-C, Magic Steve. And it didn't catch on. It just didn't catch on. So then, Dave and I are looking for cigarette money or something like this, and I said, I'm flat broke, and I put my hand in my pocket, and there was change in there. 12, 13 years old. And he said, wow, it's like magic. And I went, Magic Steve. So now, there's a little legacy happening. All right. So we grow, we go on, and I can pull a little thing off here or there, but the Magic Steve thing hasn't quite cemented itself yet. So years go by, and we're on our way out to the Hamptons. It's our first trip out there. We've got a U-Haul truck, and we're just getting ready to turn onto the highway, and the thing dies. And Dave says, hey, Magic Steve, can you fix the truck? And, listen, I just said, yeah, I can. And I got in the truck. This is gospel. Got in the truck, got in the driver's side, pulled out a joint. It's my way. Lit it up, took a big, big toke, blew it in the heater vent, started the truck, and nursed it all the way to the Hamptons. And thus, the nickname stuck. And then it became, Steve can fix anything. If somebody else can't fix it, Steve can fix it. And that's how I became the Madge, and the Magical Madge, and Magic Steve, and this and that, and blah. So now, on to the glove story, because I want to get into the end whistle portion of the program quickly. I was asked why I wear a glove. Well, you can see from that picture and from that picture. But why? Why does that happen? Well, I play drums with a conventional grip, not a traditional conventional grip like jazz players. My left hand, I hold my stick like this, and so the stick passes right over this area, all right? And when you're playing as hard as you can with giant sticks, trying to keep up with high watts and acoustic bass amps, sometimes you're scared. There it is. Sometimes you get a little blister. And that's not bad, as long as you're not playing the next day, because if you're playing the next day, the blister turns into a little cut. And if you're playing the day after that, it turns into a little valley. And if you never get a day off, it starts to look like that. So, I've tried everything in the world, and everybody says, "Oh, you should try a baseball glove. You know, the not a mitt. You should try a golf glove. Or what about a driving glove? How about this? How about that?" And I tried everything, and there was nothing I could do. And let me tell you what, when I hit that thing for the first time in a night, and it splits open and starts getting ugly, it hurts. And I've had to do some really nasty things in the dressing room to make it stop hurting and repair it. But I'm not going to go into all that. That's how I got, that's how I got into the gloves. So a friend of mine back in the day was a doctor, 20 years older than me, but a doctor nonetheless, and a thoracic surgeon. And so he kept seeing my hand, and I said, what am I going to do about this? And he said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, can I try those gloves that you wear? And he brought me home a pair of surgical gloves. So I tried them. Now, the problem was that under there, when it's in the glove, it keeps the skin really soft, so it tends to split anyway. And if it's already split, there's nothing I can do about it. So I asked Alan for a set of sutures one day, a little stitching thing. And it was getting so bad in the dressing room that I used cocaine to numb the pain. I used the stitching thing to close it up. And then I borrowed some of Mark's crazy glue that he used to put his fingertips back on, sealed it up, put the glove on, and poof! I'm back and rocking. A little messy, but there you go. We do what we have to do on the road. Man, I just looking at that. It's one thing and the whole thing has almost completely gone away. When I was a kid, it was like, I don't know, it was like a big lump because it was a muscle, and then it would split, and winter was horrible because it would get chapped. Anyway, it was a whole nightmare, but that's why I wear the surgical gloves on my left hand. Okay, so enough of the gore. Now we're in Entwistle territory now. We've got, I got Entwistle for you. And actually I look good with a tan, huh? How'd that happen? Lighting, kids, lighting. I'm going to send this one out to the McCullen clan. Tim and a whole family, good friends for a long time, big Johnny supporters, big JEB supporters, good friends, the kind of people you want to have on your side when there's trouble going on. Talking about trouble, I also want to send this out to my my Instagram friend Whistle Rhymes, because he dedicates this to Doris. Listen up.
This one's for Doris the Spider. It's called Boris the Spider.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
It's crawling up my wall. Black and hairy, very small. Now he's up under my head, hanging by a little thread. Boris the Spider. Boris the Spider. Now he's dropped onto the floor, heading for the bedroom door. Maybe he's as scared as me. Where's he gone now? I can't see. Boris the Spider. Boris the Spider. You're trapped in a bar, doesn't seem to move at all. Wrapped together, just be sure. It's just up off the floor. Boris the Spider. Boris the Spider. to us again. Don't think he will ever mend. Nevermore will you go round. You think that it's in the ground. Oh, this is my world.
Never gets old. Johnny. It's me in the creaking chair. Freaking chair? Squeaking chair? I don't know. I'm liking this new tanning bed filter. Makes my eyes look green. Anyway. So, we continue our little musical journey. And actually, I weaved a very interesting little thread through today's show. I told you, well, the last tour that John and I ever did together ended in Japan. It was a walk down Abbey Road. Godfrey was on that tour, Alan Parsons, Ann Wilson, Todd Rundgren, David Pack. And we did a set of our own material. You know, each artist did 3 songs, and then we did a set of Beatles material. And as a result of that tour, I got a call from a executive at Koch Records asking me if John would like to take part in a tribute album to George Harrison. What they were doing is they were getting artists to perform one of George's songs, and they were going to do, you know, and they had some pretty cool people. They had Big Head Todd, they had Todd Rundgren, they had Bill Wyman. So I said, yeah, we'd love to do it. So he gave me a list of George songs, and he told me I wanted to do While My Guitar Gently Weeps, but and I was going to think of produce kind of a cool bass thing to go with that. But Todd Rundgren wound up doing that track, and rightfully so, because when we did it on the road, he did it great, and that should have been his track. So, you know, I said, well, look, we'll pick the song, we'll get it together. And, well, let me play you one of the Beatles songs. This is John playing bass on this. This is Walk Down Abbey Road, and this is us playing Here Comes the Sun, which is the song we wound up recording. But I want you to see what changes have to happen in order to make what I'm about to tell you happen. So, pay special attention to the bass part, which you'll barely hear in this. But there's one little thing that John does in the turnaround. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. He does that. Wow. If you know to listen to it, you'll hear it every time. And you'll hear it ghosted way in the back of this track. And then, well, let me play it for you. And see if you recognize the song.
Townsend over there on vocals again. Like all these tunes, you're going to know this one.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smile's returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
Oh, wow. My producer must have been out of the room. It's one of those days. I tell you what, I started at the beginning and I got so out of sorts and the show started so whacked out that I thought to myself, this is what goes on at NBC when you see, you know, we'll be right back. There's people going crazy inside your television. They're going nuts. They're hitting each other. That's what goes on. That's not what was happening here, but it was close. Anyway, I don't know what you heard or what you didn't hear. But anyway, what I said, what? No, what? I mean, I don't know what I said. I have to go back and read my lips. All right, well, anyway, one of the nights on that tour, the promoter came and said, we'd like to record, you know, as we're thinking about releasing the, you know, whatever, compilation record. And so we all agreed, and we all had to pay a pretty steep fee. Me, John, Todd, Ann, Alan, and I guess David Pack too, because he's still asking me where it is. And so they came, I think we recorded at Wolf Trap. I was talking to my friend Pamela about Wolf Trap. She was there the other day to see a show. Anyway, so we recorded the show. It was a good show, and we played really well. And the tour ended. We had a few weeks off. Then we went to Japan. We finished the tour there. And in the off time, I was negotiating the deal for the Beatles record. And so Scott, who was the exec at Koch, said, you know, would you like to produce some of it? I said, sure. And I got Leslie West to do Old Brown Shoe, and I got John, you know, we were looking at the tracks, and we hadn't decided on which track we were going to do yet. So Scott says, well, listen, I'm going to send you the deposit anyway, all right, just so that we can sign the paperwork, and you guys work out what track you want to do. As I figured, since Guitar Gently Weeps wasn't available, you know, we'd pick another track. I like paperback writer because I like the riff and that. I thought that would be cool. But anyway, so he sends me the deposit. Thank you very much. We spent it. Bye-bye deposit. And we're getting ready to cut the record. And John, well, you know what happened, passes away. We were getting ready to cut the record on the break from the 2002 Who tour, and he's gone. Now, they already gave me a deposit, so I'm thinking, oh, okay. And believe me, we spent it quick. I'm thinking, all right, what are we going to do now? So I come up with a brilliant idea. I remember we recorded that one night at Wolf Trap, and I called the promoter, and I said, listen, man, I need those tapes. I figured, I'll dress it up, I'll overdub this and that. And he said, well, you can't have the tapes. And I said, well, why not? We paid a lot of money. He said, yeah, but Ann doesn't want them getting out, and she didn't improve the performance, so I can't let you have them. I said, well, we paid for them. We own some of them. He said, well, he's tied me up in a bunch of minutia. So I said to myself, well, what am I going to do now? Because Johnny's not phoning it in from the great by and by. So I called the guy back up and I said, listen, you know how much money I paid on mine and John's behalf for these tapes to be recorded. I don't want to drag your ass into some claim which is going to involve Todd and Ann and this and that. I'll tell you what. If you give me just the bass part, one track out of 24, it's 3 tracks, just the bass part, that'll take care of it for me. So he makes arrangements that whoever's got the masters is going to transfer just the bass part to a digital audio tape, and then I can do whatever it is I'm going to do with it. So now I have the bass part to Here Comes the Sun, that bass part. That, nice, but I can tell you what, John wasn't sweating while he was playing it. And so I went to my friend Jim, that's where I was planning on recording the record, and I said, what can we do about this sound? He said, well, why don't we, he asked me about how John set up, and I said John would take a direct out, and he would do this and that and the other thing, and he had what he called a direct inject, and then he had the highs and the lows. So he said, well, why don't we just turn it around, because as a matter of fact, I had his rig there, the ASS cabinets, the last one he used. I had it brought over to Jim's studio. We set it up and put some mics in front of it and played John's bass part back through the board into the rig and recorded what came back out. And I can assure you, children, it wasn't that piddly thing. And basically, they just wouldn't turn him up. I told you, Alan Parsons said, can you ask John to turn down? I said, yeah, I can ask him. So I had to go through a bunch of studio magic in order to make a track that the rest of us could play to, because I used Chris Clark, who was the last keyboard player in the Entwistle Band for Bass Odyssey 2001. I used Jeff Gantz, who was we didn't need Jeff Gantz because we already had a bass player. So forget Jeff Gantz. I had Mark on guitar, and I had Mark Clark from Coliseum, who was actually the original vocalist in Torque. He was singing the vocals. So anyway, remember, this is the same bass part to the track that you just heard. And let's see what you think.
Here comes the sun, I say. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
Yeah, that was a tough record to make. That was a tough record to make. And I had to make a bunch of records. Two, not a bunch, but two Entwistle related records during that time. I had to do, I had signed a deal with Conch again in the same, it was in this whole thing, to do Left for Live Deluxe, which was the 2 CD set of all the live stuff. I mean, you know, it was actually in the middle of those sessions that I got the call from Bill Curbishley telling me that John's family and the rest of the band wanted me to read John's eulogy, read his eulogy at the memorial service. And that was one of the toughest shows I've ever done. Very strange day, but let's keep it on the high note. So, I'm going to take you now through the journey of creation. We're staying in the Entwistle theme. I'm going to step outside it just for a second. Load up the right media here. This is a song that I wrote, I gotta say, 1985. And, whoops, 1985, and you'll recognize it, I'm sure.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
I wrote this actually in 1985, and I believe I actually tried teaching it to the guys in Reruns. This is before I ever knew John. Back then, everything that I wrote would have been written for Rat Race. And I guess we tried it. Dave paid me a nice compliment. Said it sounds like a Beatles track. But we never did it. And then, met John in '87 and blah, 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 blah. And so when we finally came around to the Vampires album, that's when I took out Horror Rock, what you just heard. And I played it for John. He went, we can make that work. And we started working it out, and he wrote the middle part of it, and that bit, or whatever. They used it a lot in the TV show. So it went from 1985. Write this thing. I just wrote it because I had samplers and stuff, and it was a cool track. I mean, it sounded pretty cool. And so we kept the riff, and we took the 5/4 bit, and John wrote the middle 8, and we started playing it. Turned into this. There you go. Horror rock. So, that went 1985. Right? Sat in the can 10 or 12 years. Then we got to put it on a record. We got the record deal for the soundtrack to the TV show. So when 1997 rolls around, song has found its way from the live stages of the summers to this.
When a mysterious meteor crashes into a lonely junkyard, derelict vans and cars take on human-like life. The vampires suck the gas from innocent cars to feed their need for speed and drain the planet of all its fuel. Only 4 teenagers, transformed by the meteor, stand between the vampires and a world sucked dry and running on empty. Heart team, heart car, all hero. The motivators must fight the night to save the day. So check your fear and get in gear. The vampires are here.
Up. Winds up on television show.
I saw you waving in a sea of faces. I recognize you on 100 pages.
catch you all up. The Simpsons they did a Who episode, and you know, it was the three of them and Homer. I guess he was supposed to be Keith Moon. Anyway, to thank the guys. Oh yeah, why? Oh shit. Uh-oh. Turn down the music. I'm sorry. Okay, music down. Voices up. Do I have to start all the way from the beginning? Because that was like...
Yeah, they can't hear you.
That was almost an hour ago. All right. Can you hear me now? So anyway, John calls me up, and you know, I was going over actually to do the writing session that Wouldn't Sleep With You came from, and he said to me, Matt Groening from the Simpsons sent me a bowling ball. What? Well, you know, Homer and the ball. So he says, yeah, and he gets this yellow Simpsons bowling ball in a black and yellow bowling bag with Homer Simpson on it. I mean, ridiculous. You know, shoes, bowling shoes. So John decides, let's go to Cheltenham and try it out. So him and Chris, son Chris, go to Cheltenham, and John gets the bowling bug. If you can believe this, the bowling bug. John Entwistle. Bowling. So he's telling me, I can't wait till you come over, man. We're gonna go, you know, I'm gonna go see Still Crazy, and we're gonna go bowling. We're gonna do all this stuff, right? So he tells me about the Simpson ball, but he says that's not the one I'm going to use. And I said, well, hey, what'd you get? He said, well, I got a crystal ball and a pair of Darth Maul bowling shoes. I'm thinking, what the? Darth Maul, that's the guy with the red and black face, right, from Star Wars. And so I said, okay, well, let's go bowling when I get there. So I get there, and he says, okay, come on, you know, we're going to go. We're going to go now. No, or whatever. So he takes me into the room and shows me his Darth Maul bowling shoes, which are like, they're bowling shoes, but they're like striped, like zebra stripes in black and red. I mean, they are like outrageous. He found these somewhere and ordered them, because suffice it to say, John's not going to use Simpson bowling shoes. So he shows me the shoes, and I get the Darth Maul reference, because, you know, this is wait till you see the ball. I just got it the other day. I said, okay, let's see the ball. And he opens up this beautiful leather bag, because he's not using the Simpsons, any of that stuff. It just got him hooked, right? And he pulls out this bowling ball, and it's an absolute crystal clear bowling ball with the 3 holes in it, you know. But in the center of it, in the center of the bowling ball, is a skull. I kid you not, a skull. He throws this thing down the lane, the skull's going zol, 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 right? So we're laughing in the car, and we're doing that, and what did I say about not bowling in the Cuban Heels? He was bowling in the Spider. The rest of them looked right. Just didn't have the base. Traded in the base for bowling shoes, Darth Maul bowling shoes, and a crystal ball. Crystal ball. So we go to the bowling alley, and Chris has shoes and a ball, of course. I have to rent shoes, rent a ball, pick out a ball. And I don't even know how long it's been since last time I bowled. And I have a bowling thing anyway, because I grew up playing pinball in a bowling alley. Another story. Anyway, so John pulls out the ball, puts on the shoes. I have my ball. And we're playing, we're playing. He throws a couple of gutter balls. It's like the 6th frame. He's got 34, but he's having a great time. Having the time of his life. And I've seen him that happy. but never inside. No, never in a bowling alley. Let's put it that way. Okay, so the music's playing and the lights are flashing because it's one of those kind of bowling alleys, and it's in Cheltenham, which is just weird. I don't think of bowling as being anywhere else but here in the United States. So okay, no problem. So we're playing and we're wrapping up a third, maybe the fourth game, and this family comes next to us, right? And they don't pay John any mind, nice, very typical English family. A mother, actually, and the two kids. I don't guess the dad was there, but the two kids, a young boy and his little sister. And so, I'm smiling and they're smiling and everybody's all happy, and John throws his ball, and little girl goes up to throw her first shot. Brother's telling her, okay, you're going to do like this. And the mother said, it's okay, it's going to be fine. And she said, no, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little scared. I'm a little nervous, I'm a little scared. And they said, nothing to be scared of, nothing to be scared of. You'll be fine. And I looked at her because I was getting ready to throw mine, but you always wait, for the person in the lane next to you. And I said, it's nothing to be scared of. And just like it was planned in the movie, John's ball comes rolling out of the ball return, and the skull is looking right at the little girl. She drops her bowling ball, screams, and we never saw her again. And John says, what was that about? What was that all about? And I said, I think she got a little freaked out by your bowling ball, man. And he went, and that's bowling with Entwistle for me. So, God, man. Just thinking about it, and these are the times, and I record everything, but these are the times you just wish you had a frickin' camera or something. At least there was like surveillance or something. Now you can't get off a video camera. Everywhere you go, you're on tape, so be cool. But back then, that was what, 2000, maybe 01. I don't know. I could look up the Simpsons episode and I would know that it was after that. But anyway, I mean, that was life in England with Johnny, and this was my Johnny show today. So now let's talk about tomorrow. I'm going to do something, because if I put this up, and don't worry, it's not going to be crazy or anything. I'm putting this up, and I'm hoping that you will be able to see it if it works. Anybody there? There it is. Okay, sound. See now. Yes. Okay. So the last thing that I see is Gail saying yes. Do you guys see what I'm seeing? Do you see what I see? Because I can't hear you, but maybe I can see you. Anyway, this is your chance to let me know what you would like tomorrow to be. It's either going to be Robin Zander Band Day, or it's going to be Steve's Solo Project Day, or it's going to be... What? What is it? Art. Oh, right, the Art Day. Art Day, yeah, but that's not musically, Art Day. Creative Day. I don't know. Okay, good. Well, you're all there. So, well, what? Ooh, Soundtrack Day. How's everybody? You know what? Hey, Angus, thank you, man. Tommy, thank you. I don't know what tomorrow's going to be. I'll announce it when I figure it out. But it'll have a theme, just like a good party. It will, hang on, I need to see you guys. This is nuts. It'll have a theme, like a good party.
I saw you waving, see your face.